I wanted to thank you guys for all coming out today. And actually, I would really like to go back to Buenos Aires to practice together with you. In a few days, in all of South Korea, many thousands of monks and nuns begin this period called Dongango or Kyeolche. And this is an old tradition. It's 2,500 years old. This tradition is the strongest in all of Asia. It's the strongest in South Korea. For 90 days, the monks and nuns, we enter the temple, shut the door, no internet, no mail, no newspaper, no telephone, only practice. There's no public talks, there's no lectures also during this 90 days. Every day at 2 o'clock in the morning, wake up and meditation until 9 or 10 p.m. at night. Every single day without rest, it's the same schedule, the same structure of sitting meditation, walking meditation, eating meditation, everyday life. And this practice is, what am I? We sit facing the wall. And the reason why we do this, it's following the tradition of Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma was a great monk from India who traveled to China. And when Bodhidharma went to China, already there was lots of Buddhism and lots of Buddhist temples in China. Many beautiful pagodas, many beautiful paintings, many beautiful assemblies of monks and nuns doing ceremonies. But Bodhidharma was a meditation kind of specialist. He was a meditation monk. He was a Zen monk. And he saw that the practice, that the Buddhism in China was a little bit like, kind of more like religion. And it was more about ceremony and sort of this outer Buddhism, but it wasn't about this inner Buddhism. It's like people who were already arrived in a very, very, very high-class restaurant with very good food, very high-class food, and very, very free, but they did not know how to use a knife and fork or chopsticks. So the nutrition was there. The nutrition was right in front of them, but they did not use the right, they didn't know the right technology to get that nutrition into their stomach. So he felt very sad inside for their suffering because they weren't eating true, getting the nutrition of their true nature. He left the big temple and he went to a cave. He went to a cave above Shaolin Temple. He went into a cave and he sat facing the wall for 9 years. This radical revolution to return to the fundamental point. What is this? Imoko. That is Zen. Zen just means meditation. Meditation means understanding my true self. That's all. Only keeping this question, what am I? So, every time you come to practice a Koryosa, you are participating in this revolution. But this is not some outside revolution. The most radical revolution is to change yourself. So in a few days, the winter retreat starts in Korea. And in this tradition of Bodhidharma, this tradition of cutting everything off and looking inside for a period, not looking for more religion, actually letting go of religion and returning to this fundamental point. What is my human nature? When I was born, where did I come from? When I die, where do I go? So there's a very famous old Zen poem that expresses this. Coming empty-handed into this world and also leaving empty-handed from this world. That is the human way. Life is like a floating cloud which appears in the sky. Death is like a floating cloud which just disappears from the sky. But originally, this floating cloud does not appear, does not exist. Life and death are just like that. But there is one thing that always remains clear. It is pure and clear, not depending on life or death. So every religion explains this and this about life and death, this and this about life and death, this and this about life and death. Life comes from this person. Life goes from here. This person made you. This person made this. Something, some absolute, always talking, life and death. Every religion has a different explanation for life and death. But you see, these religions that have a very strong idea of life and death, they're always fighting, only making more life and death. So what you are doing on Wednesdays and Saturdays at Koryosa is the same thing that I am doing and many other monks and nuns are doing in the 90-day retreat. It's the same thing. When I am in the temple for 90 days, I am not doing something more substantial or more important or more holy than what you are doing in your weekly practice at Koryoso. Not different. It's just the depth of the practice, the amount of time that we can give to it, but the practice is the same thing. One day, the Emperor of China, the great Emperor of China, Emperor Wu of Liang, invited Bodhidharma to come to the palace. And of course, in China, to meet the emperor was, you were not even allowed to look at him. You had to talk looking at the ground. You were not even permitted to look up at the emperor. You had to just look down at the ground. Bodhidharma was already a famous meditating monk in India. So when he came to China, of course, even the emperor heard, and the emperor invited him because the emperor was a Buddhist supporter. But of course, even though Bodhidharma was a great monk, he must still treat the emperor, everyone expected, he must still treat him like a god. If not, some problem. And of course, they had to probably sit a very far distance away from the emperor and not even look at him. And the emperor said, I have done a lot to help Buddhism in my country. I have built many temples and I developed many Buddhist libraries in the country. With the money of the country, I have built many temples. I have built many monasteries, and I have supported the life and the practice of many monks. So the emperor said to Bodhidharma, this foreigner, remember Bodhidharma was a foreigner in the emperor's own country. He didn't even have the worth of an ant to the emperor. The emperor asked him a question to Bodhidharma. The emperor said, I have done all of these things, all of these great, wonderful things. And he said, how much spiritual merit did I make? Bodhidharma said to the emperor, he said, nothing. You didn't make anything. The emperor said, what do you mean? What do you mean I made nothing? Then what is the highest teaching? If I didn't make any credit with all of this work, I employed armies of people to make hundreds of temples and libraries. If that is not a high merit, what is the highest teaching of Buddhism then? He said the highest spiritual merit is not about holiness, not about some grand, beautiful calculation of holiness and how much I give and get, not that calculation of holiness. Rather, Bodhidharma said, keeping your mind clear like space. The emperor was totally shocked. No one even looks at him. And this monk, this foreign guy is saying to him in his country, you didn't make anything. And the emperor was completely upset. How dare you talk to me like this? How dare you insult my royal presence like this? Who do you think you are? You little worm, you little ant. I can crush you. Who do you think you are talking to me like this? And Bodhidharma was just like you and me in this way. He was like Jesus in this way. This revolution against this false thinking about religion. But Bodhidharma's answer was, when the emperor said, "Who do you think you are?" He said, Bodhidharma said, "Don't know. I am," in other words, that means what I am is not knowing. I am, don't know. Don't know. That is my existence. And then he turned and he left the emperor's presence. He turned his back. We cannot imagine this gesture, but this is the radical action of a Zen practitioner. He turned his back to the most powerful person in the world. He turned his back and walked out. Then the emperor was very, very angry, and he talked with his ministers later, and he found out, really, he started to realize some taste of what Bodhidharma was trying to help him with. Bodhidharma was not trying to hurt him. He was trying to liberate his mind. He was trying to liberate the emperor from even his false thinking. Bodhidharma was not just, he was really from compassion trying to liberate the emperor to a deeper level of his own practice, but the emperor had too much pride. So Bodhidharma just left. And he was so surprised and shocked that he missed this opportunity that Bodhidharma was pointing to, this deeper point. He was so shocked that he told his ministers a few days later, "Call him back, bring him back, bring him back. I want to talk to him again, bring him back." Brave government minister said, "Sir, Your Highness, even if you sent an army to bring him back, he will never come back." So this is very important, this don't know. We don't know. Why we are born one day, don't know. Why we die someday, don't know. What kind of sickness I will die from, what kind of accident, what day, in what condition, with what problems, I don't know what that will be. I don't know. Human beings, we are afraid of that. Of course, like a child who is afraid of the dark, human beings, we are afraid of that not knowing. So we make religion, we make these old books that say, "Oh, no, it is okay, because if you believe like this, if you believe like this, if you believe like this, everything will be okay." But Bodhidharma was pointing to a different way, this radical point that doesn't depend on religion. But Buddhism and Bodhidharma, it's even more radical pointing. We sit every day, we come to Koryosa, we sit, we come on time, we do bowing, chanting, and then sitting. We look at the ground, and we are alone with our existence. We're not separating from our life. We're not rejecting or walking away from our life into something safe and protected in this meditation in the temple. Actually, we are doing something very, 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 very radical. Actually, it's the most intimate action you can ever do in your life. The most intimate action you can ever have is to be able to connect with your own fundamental nature. So we make this period, and we, bowing, and we do some chanting, and then we do sitting. These are just technologies. These are just practical technologies. These are just active technologies for looking inside. What am I? We're sitting and doing direct scientific investigation. What is my life? All religions say you must believe this. That is our religion. Your identity is connected to what you believe, what we tell you. The Buddha said right before he died, he said, "I have been teaching for 45 years, but don't believe anything that I said just because I said it. Don't believe my words just because it's a tradition and you should believe it because I said it." He said, "Don't believe it that way." He said, "You look at it. You test it." Then he said, "Then your experience will tell you if my teaching was true or false." Your experience will teach you. So when you're sitting on the cushion, that's why we don't have speech. That's why we emphasize silence during the period of practice. Yeah, all day in our life, in our job, in our family, other people's opinions, other people's ideas and opinions, always going in to our head. About clothing, about movies to watch, about food, about sports teams, about politics. Every day, other opinions going in. But it's very special. Koryosa, a place like Koryosa, we have this program where we come together with friends and we can be silent with other human beings. We can be silent with other friends. Yeah? If you are quiet with your best friend in a restaurant, you go to a meal, or you're walking in the park with a friend, if you're with your friends and you're quiet for a few minutes, people will say, "What's wrong? What's bothering you?" Yeah, sometimes we just don't want to talk. Not good, not bad. Sometimes the smell of the trees or the wind on our cheek, sometimes we just feel moved and want to pay attention to that experience. But in society, if you are silent like that, even for 5 minutes, people think you have a problem. But it's just like making wine. Yeah, you put this regular grape juice, like every other kind of grape, regular grape juice goes in the bottle. But wine is different because we put a cork in the bottle and keep the cork in the bottle for a little while. Then this grape juice can change. But everyone in society is constantly taking the cork out of their bottle, taking it out, putting it in, taking it out, little putting it in. They put it in only when they sleep. Then it's like out. Then this grape juice never becomes great wine. So this fermentation can really happen if we just leave the grape juice alone. Don't add any more opinions or anything. Just leave the grape juice on the side a little bit. This grape juice becomes great wine. Usually during the day, before you come to meditation, stress, decisions, ideas, fears, plans, anxiety, all of these things. And then we just go out and we think we can resolve it by just talking with our friend, having a couple glasses of beer, talking with our friend, going to a friend, talking. Maybe we even pay someone per hour so that we can talk to them about our problems. So in your busy lives, try to make time. It helps you anyway and helps your family. Make time to sit and be with friends and be extremely, extremely intimate with your life. I said once, I think in Koryosa, our mind, it's just like a smartphone. If you notice nowadays, like if you have your smartphone, many times the battery will run down very, very quickly during the day. The more you use the phone, the battery will run down even faster and faster over the life of your phone. And many people think, oh, my smartphone, it doesn't last as long as when I first bought it. The battery runs out very fast nowadays. That's because we know now, you can go on the internet, they say like 10 tips for using the top tip they always give is, we always have apps. Apps are always running automatically in the background. Until you look into your phone and find that, the phone just keeps eating energy, working slower, working less efficiently. I have a technician friend, and he said, oh, many people bring their smartphones to me to fix. They say, my smartphone has a problem. Can you fix it? And he said, most of them, 99%, don't realize they don't need me to fix it. They just need to examine closely and turn off some apps. Then the phone will work super fast again. So our brain, our thinking mind is just like that. Many, many apps are running all day. Many apps that we turn on are running all day. Without knowing it, they're sucking our battery life. Yeah. Family app, business app, relationship app, money app, politics app, news app, Argentine national football team app. Some people, whole life, some issue app is just sucking their energy, sucking your mental space. So our minds are more complicated. They are more tired than our grandparents and older generations. You can see it. So this is the last point, meditation. Meditation just means look at my smartphone, my original smartphone. If I really look this 2 hours or 3 hours of practice twice, if I really sit there alone with my smartphone and ask who controls this smartphone, then you see these apps by themselves, they just turn off, turn off, turn off, turn off. You notice after meditation, you feel bright and you have energy. Something feels cleaner. Something is a little bit easier to smile. That's don't know. That's the original smartphone operating system is don't know. Actually, it has no name, it has no form. It's not Buddhist, it's not Christian. It's not male or female. It's not pure or impure. It's not Argentine or American or Korean or German. And it's never born and it never dies. And this operating system is the same in all living life. Then in meditation, we don't tell you what that, I'm talking too much right now, but in meditation, we don't talk and tell you what that should be. Just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You can see for yourself. That's Zen. Okay? Any questions?
He's bringing this question since a couple of days. He knew he would have this opportunity. And also he feels in some way this question is already answered, but he will make it anyhow. Anyways, it's a short time that he's practicing with us. In a way, he feels that he has many questions, and slowly these questions are being answered by itself. And this specific question has to do with his social life.
He's asking if he should leave his family in order to practice deeply, in order to do the practice?
Yes.
No. Why?
No. Okay.
Why do that? Practicing is like learning any new skill. In some ways, it starts to work, but in some ways, you can feel, maybe a little unstable a little bit at the same time because your eyes start to open and you cannot see the world the same way your parents taught you, society taught you, school taught you, church taught you. You can't see it the same predictable way that you were safe in before. So you can feel a little bit uncertain. Maybe to go deeper, I should leave them. But that doesn't mean you need to leave people. Anyway, you chose to be with them. You love them and you have responsibility to them in some ways. Your relationship with them is your teacher. Practice is just a mirror. Okay? Practice is just a mirror to reflect back who am I? But the function of who am I is in relationship with other people. Many people, not only in Zen practice, many people in many places think, I must find truth far away. But your family, your relationships, they are your temple. But, just like Jesus, or just like Bodhidharma, or just like Sangye Sanim, or any Sanim, or someone, you can be with other people, but sometimes you must go away for some period of an intensive taste. That's called retreat. But you come back and you connect with people. That is the function of practice. You have a very mature attitude to practice. Why do I say that? Not just to make you feel good. But you said something very, very, very important, that only someone who is a little mature at least a little mature, can say, you said, I realize more and more, I already have the answer. My teacher used to always say, when we would ask him a question, my teacher, Sung San Sanim, when we would ask him a question, he would always answer. He would start his answer by saying, always, you already understand. That was a great liberation. He always said, we would say, sir, why is this? Sir, I have a problem with this. What should I do? And he would always answer first. Always he would say, first he would answer, you already understand. Actually, I thought I got a little frustrated sometimes because I thought that he's just making some formality, or he's just maybe being polite. In the beginning, I thought that. No, he understands. I don't understand. He understands, I thought. But really, after practicing, after doing practice, many things I still don't understand. But one thing I realize is about the fundamental way to live inside what I should do, I already understand. Socrates used to talk about his own role as a teacher, he said, was, I don't give the answer to my student. I can't give the answer to my student. Socrates said, my job is, I am just a midwife. Socrates said, I don't make the baby. I don't create the baby. I help. It's already inside. I just help the baby to come out. And that is the Buddha's teaching also. The Buddha said, human beings already, sentient beings, actually, they already know what they should do. The only problem is, out of a habit, they just follow their thinking, they're checking, thinking, checking. They believe their thinking, they follow their thinking, so they lose their way. But they already understand. So, keep practicing. Then your way, your combination in your life, the combination of practice, of family and retreat. In the beginning, it seems like far away. Oh, here's retreat time, here's family time. When you start, it's far away. But as you practice, you realize it's the same thing. If you want more guidance about this, there's something in Zen teaching called the 10 ox herding pictures. And it's a story of spiritual practice. The first picture is a boy, and it sees the tracks of a cow, going, but not the cow, just a few tracks in the snow. The second picture is the boy sees the ongdongi, the behind, the back of a cow or horse or sheep, not clear. Then the third one is the boy or girl sees the whole cow and sees, oh, it's a cow. Now, there's an Argentine version and another. In the Argentine version, in the fourth picture, the boy eats the cow. But in the other version that all of us study is the cow is brown, but it starts to change white. Yeah? Oh, when you start, you think, oh, Buddhism, very exotic. Buddhism, very exotic. Asian Buddhism, oh, Dalai Lama Buddhism. Your first image of Buddhism, when you practice, as your practice happens, your view of this cow, your view of this practice, actually, what you think it is in the beginning, it starts to change. It becomes different than what you expected. Then here's the one for you. This is the one maybe where you are. Your question would be, I think it's the fifth picture. The boy is caught the cow and is very tight, is holding it and struggling very tight with the cow. Sometimes the cow, the head is like this. The cow is pulling the head away, and the boy is pulling even harder to control this cow, to really control this practice. That's our life. Then as we practice, The next picture is the cow and the boy, the line becomes very loose. We become more relaxed with our practice. We're not fighting. There's less tension. It becomes more natural in our life. That's this meaning of this next picture. Sometimes it's expressed in that picture or the next picture. The boy or the girl is sitting on the cow and playing a flute on the back of the cow. Right? That's that one. That means the practice and me and the practice is like, it's like music together. It's good friends. It's natural. It's very just natural, like my socks, like my hat, like my clothing, like my breathing, like the feeling of my skin. It just becomes one. In the beginning, this struggle is like the practice is in Koryosa and my family is at home, tension to me. But as you practice, as you practice, this becomes smoother. Then driving is practice, walking is practice, eating is practice, showering is practice. Practice and me just happen. Then the next picture is this zero, this circle. That just means emptiness, this experience of emptiness. Completely become one. No inside, no outside. No I, no practice. So then the next picture is Jayan Kudero. It's just mountains, waters, trees, just everything just like this is already complete. No I, no practice, no Buddhism, no Zen, no you, just everything just like this is complete. Everything just like this is true. Truth. Okay? And then the next picture is usually the practitioner, the old monk or the older woman, returning to town, older meaning more wisdom, returning to town to have dinner with people, to have tea, to help them with their farming, to take care of them when they're sick, just everyday life function. Pyeongsang Shimdo. So this is it's one of the most beautiful teachings in Korean Buddhism. This Ship Udo, it shows the evolution of our relationship to practice and life. So it's okay for you to think, oh, should I leave my family or something? It's okay. That's part of also your evolution, to have that view. That's also showing you something. That's also a mirror of your mind. Also, don't attach to that. Let it go. Just practice. You already understand. Really? Yeah? Great. Good. Any more questions?
So she is a very, very new practitioner. And her question is, when she is sitting and she has a lot of thoughts, how can she improve to quiet this mind? If she should concentrate on her breathing, or if this quiet mind should come with the practice?
Both points are correct. First, thoughts coming and going, that's just natural. Meditation does not mean stopping your thinking. Meditation also does not mean quieting your thinking. If you are in church, if you go to church and your little puppy comes with you into a quiet church and the puppy is playing, if you try to make this puppy quiet by quieting the puppy will make more noise. That is just, thinking is not good, not bad. So, meditation does not mean stopping your thinking. It does not mean quieting your thinking. I never try to quiet my thinking in 27 years of meditation. Rather, meditation means looking. So, you're correct. Return to your breath, because any way you breathe,
todas maneras.
Right? We only pay attention to our breath when we have stress or we're crying or we're upset. Then we notice our breath, but our breath is happening 24 hours a day. Our breathing is constant. It is neutral. It doesn't have any judgment. Our breathing is just like flowing water. So when you return to paying attention, just watch your breath. Don't focus on it in a very intense, tight way of concentrating on breath. Just watch the breath. That brings you to right here, right now. That's all it does. It brings you to right here, right now. That's just simple. The problem is what makes meditation seem difficult is thinking habit, thinking habit, thinking habit. The thinking habit is so strong sometimes that it seems that meditation is difficult, but it's not difficult to return to your breath. But here's the point. We are practicing Zen. Zen means the question, the examination of who is breathing? Who hears this voice? Or, oh! Something heard that. You are in Argentina. I am in Korea. Where you are sitting, there are Argentine people, there are Korean people, there are maybe German people, there is American person, but in that moment, something, it's not a thing, something perceives that, something. It's always functioning, and it's not based on thinking. It has nothing to do with Argentine thinking, Catholic thinking, American thinking, conservative thinking. Perceiving this sound, oh! It's not based on progressive thinking or feminist thinking or Islamic thinking. It's not, that perception is not based on the function of thinking. It happens before thinking arises. That perception happens before thinking. Thinking is just like a shadow. Here we go. Okay, that shadow, that's just a shadow. It looks like a dog, but that shadow is not a real dog. Our thinking is just like that. Good thinking, bad thinking, sad thinking, worried thinking, fearful thinking, angry thinking. It's all shadows coming and going. And all day we live following these shadows and thinking that they are real. Someone tells you in the morning, I hate you. I never loved you. I never want to see you again. You're a terrible person. I wish I never met you. Someone says that to you in the morning. All day, you are getting pain. You are depressed. Every day on the street, you open the paper. Someone said something to someone, and they took out a gun and killed them. But it's just like this. It's just like this. It looks like a dog. It sounds like a dog, but it's not a dog. Understand? So meditation means leave your thinking alone. Leave the puppy alone. Return to your breathing. That is, your thinking will keep pulling you away because it's a strong habit, especially very strong emotions, strong memories, it will pull you away. That's just a habit. That's why it's very important that we do this Bekpalbe, we do this bowing, and we do this chanting technology because they are very strong. When you're doing 108 bows, when you are doing 108, it's very hard to think tomorrow, why did that person say something? My brother did this. Why should I do that? What's the problem with our government? This situation. The point is, when you're doing this action and following your breathing during bows, it's very hard to attach to those shadows because this action makes you very focused on this action. So you will notice after you finish 108 bows, you have less thinking. That's also why we do chanting. We're not praying to some god. We are returning to this, even while doing the sound, the chanting, our thinking sometimes a little bit comes and goes. But because we have to do this sound and follow the rhythm together, it's like dancing together, like doing a tango together. You have to follow this action so you don't follow your thinking so much during that tango. That's why if you do a tango dance or you do some dancing with someone, you always feel happy. That's why in any culture in the world, people feel happy after dancing or singing. Because of the structure of the song and the structure of the dance and the rhythm, you pay more attention to that and you less follow your thinking. You slowly, you just leave it alone, and it just like a puppy, it just becomes less quiet. That's why every culture is happier after doing that. So then we sit. Same thing. Return to your breathing. If some anger or some feeling appears during meditation, don't follow it. Don't follow the thinking like in your everyday life. Don't follow it like a dog. So if you follow your thinking, you're not different than a dog following a smell. So instead, what we do is we return to this question. What is breathing? During chanting, who is chanting? Who is hearing this?
Yes.
If some emotion or something appears in sitting, don't ignore it either. Do not ignore it. Only return. Don't follow it. Don't ignore it. Return to the root. Who is experiencing this anger? What? Who? What? What am I? And when you do that, you're thinking by itself, it only goes, you're thinking, it can't go any farther. That point, before thinking arises again, that point. Just look at that. It's not a thing. It's before thinking. So in the beginning, when you start meditation, it's like any exercise. It's like inline skating. It's like yoga. It's like learning the tango. It's like anything. When you start, there's awkward feeling. It doesn't feel natural. You're making mistakes. You're in your thinking. Don't worry. It's like anything. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Your thinking about it will become less, and you'll be more in this clear. This is just a habit machine. This is just a habit machine. Yes, of course, it's also many beautiful things, our mind. But one very important thing is it's a habit machine. And so when you sit in meditation, those habits don't just stop immediately. But if you do it, that attachment, that as soon as you see, oh, my thinking is not really me. It's just like someone when they're having a dream at night, inside the dream is their total reality. When you're having a dream, you don't experience anything outside the dream while you're having a dream. That dream is your total reality while you're having it. But when you wake up, then you see, aha, that's just a dream. That dream is not real. Then you let go. Then you're already free. So to answer your question, when you wake up from a dream, you don't have to quiet the dream anymore. You talked about quieting the thoughts. Just realize the nature of the dream. Realize that it's just a dream. Then you're already free. So return to breathing and this question and look, not a question up here like a sentence. Just look at who's doing this, and then look, okay? Then this habit will become strong of just being in the moment. Really very lucky to have a place like Koryosa, a very wonderful temple to practice, very clean, very open, very bright, with a friendly family. And everyone, we're all from different countries, but we all want the same thing. Even Christian people coming, doesn't matter. We're not we all want the same thing. Understand my true self. What am I? So really this practice and the form, it's all just a form, like a training, like an Olympic athlete has a schedule of Olympic athletes don't just like do a little exercise this way one day, and then a little bit this style another day, and then a little bit this day, and then a little bit this day, and then one style. Someone who does training, who's very serious about a goal, has a very specific training regimen, and they follow that. So the form of this Korean Buddhist tradition is an extraordinarily rare technology in this world, in my experience. So let's thank you for practicing together, and let's keep doing this life after life, not only this life, but life after life. Get enlightenment and save all beings from suffering.